Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
So I was wondering if any of you had worked at surveillance jobs, and also wondering if you had any interesting stories to share. Like weird, creepy, and unexplainable things you might have seen on the camera. Anyone?
Be 5 years ago. Be winter. Be a lot of snow that winter. I'm guarding a military base. I have been told 3 platoons of Rangers are scheduled to arrive at Gate 2 during my watch. They have been out there in the woods for a week anon. Do not pull any bad jokes on them or keep them waiting for the laughs. They will not take kindly to it. Fine. It is around 3 or 4 a.m. I keep staring at the monitor for the camera targeting Gate 2. It is pointing towards the dark forest, and it could be taken out of a scene from a horror flick. They are slow. They will miss breakfast for sure if they take too long. I see something moving in the forest around Gate 2. It looks like someone dressed in black or some shit. Ah, there they are. I get the registry system on the computer ready so that I can ask for IDs. The figure keeps moving around the trees, just barely visible. What the fuck is that soldier doing? The figure disappears in the woods again. Okay. I keep staring at the monitors around that area. It might be a civilian trying to get into the base. I see nothing for about 2 minutes. I radio in a few guards on patrol. Sup, Anon here. Can you check out the areas around Gate 2 for any signs of trespassing? I think I saw some shady guy moving around there. Sure, Anon, we will check it out. I keep watching the monitors. Suddenly, the figure runs past the camera at Gate 2 really fast. I radio in the patrol. He is at Gate 2 now, hurry. Suddenly, one of the platoons appears out of the forest. They are easy to spot compared to the figure, even though they are dressed in white camo. The soldier leading the group presses the radio button at the gate to identify himself and his group. I ask him if they have had anyone dressed in black in their group running around. Anon, what the fuck are you talking about? Just let us in, will you? The guard patrol arrives at the scene as I am about to open the gates. I see them talking with the platoon. The patrol calls me on the radio. Anon, the platoon haven't seen anything. We will check for tracks in the snow. We will keep you updated. What the actual hell? The patrol disappears from view checking for tracks. The second platoon arrives. I ask if they have seen anything. No. Around this time, the patrol says they didn't find any tracks at all around that area, and they even looked further into the woods. You sure you saw something, Anon? Or are you just trying to prank us? Fuck you, I know what I saw. And it was not any animal, it was shaped as a human. The third platoon arrives, and they do not know what the fuck I am talking about either. That morning we checked fences for signs of anyone trying to break in, tracks in the snow. Nothing. To know what the fuck I saw to this day. Everyone just shrugged it off as some civilian lurking around in the woods. But then again, you'd think they would leave tracks in that deep snow. You fuckers don't need to believe me, but it happened.
I worked the midnight to 8 a.m. shift at an Indian casino last year. Nothing particularly weird happened since it was open 24 hours, though there was one bizarre incident that still bugs me for some reason. Late night, working alone, going through surveillance records, something I probably should not have been doing. Find one video that was simply titled, Very Suspicious.AVI. Watch it. It was a video of some guy sitting at the blackjack tables. He had a bag sitting with him. Every time he won, he would fondle the bag. Finally, security confronted him, since it looked like he was counting cards. He reached into his bag and took out these two bizarre little devices. They looked like a pair of capsules with an orange flat end and a silver tightly wound spring end. Security could not figure out what they were. They leave him alone. He then sits them in the chair and would periodically rotate them. He makes a killing at the table and leaves. I asked my manager and the other co-workers about it. They had no idea what they were. They just told me to stay out of the archives. Now I get that it was probably some device to cheat at blackjack, but it looked like a pair of futuristic things. I honestly have no idea how these things worked, or what they even were. I've seen just about every method for cheating known to man, and I still have no clue. No buttons, no movable parts, just solid metal and plastic. It looked like something straight from a sci-fi or a garbage dump.
I have one. It's the story of when I saw my first, and I hope last corpse. 2005. Be 17 years old. Got a job as a security guard in a huge supermarket thanks to my uncle. Took the job because for years I saw my mom struggle to make ends meet, and I wanted us to have good things and money to spend instead of just the bare essentials. Guard of the entire supermarket, worked literally the entire day, went to sleep for 6 hours and then got back to work for another 24 hours. But man, I got paid a lot for every shift. Had a gun, even though I was underage, they just did not give a damn back then. One day it happens, 3 dudes rob the store, and me and a buddy do not know what to do. We were patrolling near there until we heard a gunshot and glass breaking. It happened way too fast for us to do something. It took them like 5 minutes to take all the jewels and got out of there in a van. No casualties, or so I thought. Enter the store and see a few people crying. One woman in particular was screaming like crazy and yelling something unintelligible because of her sobs. The manager, a fat little lady, is not there. We check the back room to see if she hid there. My friend opens the door and shit. There she was, a part of her head and an eye missing with her brain oozing out, laying in a pool of blood. Me and my friend were literal noobs to life. He was 21, but the only jobs we previously had were easy shit. We stare at the corpse for minutes, not being able to move, until another guard tells us to get our shit together and report what we saw. Tell our boss that we did not see anything. Another guard tells that apparently the woman did not want to open the safe when they told her and a dude shot her in frustration, then got out of there. They were not expecting any resistance, just get there, take the jewels and the money, and get out. I went straight to the bathrooms to puke, did not sleep well for months, because whenever I tried to sleep, I saw the body.
My dad owns a small security business. I work for him from time to time. One of the jobs I worked for him was watching some equipment and tents for the Dirty Girl Mud Run. Be out in the Texas Hill Country, working from 6 to 6 night shift, a female guard working with me. We mostly watch movies as nothing much really happens. Every few hours we patrol the perimeter of the property. On the last night I climbed up a deer stand on the property. It is up on a hill and I can see pretty much all of the 60+ acre property. I see a figure on one of the hilltops, so I decide to go check it out. We arrive on the ATVs, find tracks in the mud. We follow them into the woods. It gets too thick. Me and my partner continue on foot. The tracks end at a deer that had been mutilated. We nope out of there. We run back to the ATVs. We hear something running after us. I do not have a sidearm. We peel out on the quads and get the fuck out. I see the figure covered in blood as I look back at the woods. I find out later the guy was on bath salts and had been walking for miles, got through the barbed wire fence, got hungry and started eating a dead deer.
Be me. Working security overnight at a senior citizen's apartment building. Creepy shit happens at night sometimes. Elevators moving on their own. Loud banging from the trash room. Cold spots. Heavy breathing from the hallway behind me. I've gotten used to it, but the other night I noped pretty hard. Be me at work. Around 4 a.m., shift halfway over. I have 2 monitors of security cams that I keep in my periphery while I read a book or play 3DS. I see movement. I look up. One of the cameras on the 7th floor is freaking out and screen tearing like crazy. That is weird. I see something move on the other monitor. I look over. I see a dark figure move from camera to camera instantaneously on the cameras that are always just on the edge of my periphery. A sudden loud bang from the floor above me, like someone just took a sledge to the floor. Nope. I look back on the cameras. Nothing there. I decide fuck this and go into the basement to hang out with the building kitty who catches mice for us. The cat is freaking out and staring off in the distance and meowing at nothing. It does not want me petting it, even though it is extremely affectionate and will follow me from room to room normally. Nope. I go back upstairs and try not to think about it. I go back to reading my book. 5 a.m. Old people coming downstairs to start their day early and do whatever old people do. One tenant from the 7th floor tells me she thought she heard someone knocking on her door in the middle of the night. Nope. I review camera footage. Nothing. The next night, I come in to find a note on the desk that a tenant on the 7th floor had died sometime during the night. Nope into eternity. All tenants have medical alarms next to their beds, and it was never pulled during the night. So I had no idea that this guy was on his way out. He was suffering from 4 different types of cancer, so it was only a matter of time for him anyway, but damn. I can't help but wonder if that dark figure I saw on camera was a reaper or something.
From 2000 to 2002, I worked as a security guard for an office building in California. I was a few years out of high school, but the job was easy and didn't require a guard card, which was nice. On my first day of work, the manager gave me a tour of the building. On every floor, there was a barcode I had to scan every hour to ensure I wasn't sleeping on the job. In his office was a set of security cameras. Each camera was on the elevator entrance and emergency exits on each floor. There were additional cameras that overlooked the parking garage, 2 where the cars entered on each floor, and 2 more near stairwells. The manager said the camera above the stairwell on lower level of the parking garage would go out of focus and had to be readjusted from time to time. It was the result of pigeons that had a nest near the camera. Other than that, nothing ever happened after the offices closed.
I worked as a security guard at a university close to my house. It helped pay for college, but you would see a lot of strange things. Mostly drug deals, fights, sex, and other strange things. I would sometimes work dispatch, and sometimes would go on patrol. This night I was working dispatch. I got a call from one of the other guards. He said he felt someone was following him inside the science building as he could hear footsteps that were following him, but when he looked behind him there was nobody there. He was someone who had done this for years and was not a person to jump at shadows. I told him I would be right there and told him I was calling campus police. Yes, we had security and campus police. For those of you that don't know, those are two different jobs. Campus police and I arrived at the building and set up a perimeter around the building. We went room by room and found nothing. We were thinking whatever it was had left when one of the officers yelled, "I just saw him," and took off running. We followed and found nothing. We could smell a sense of sulfur or foul eggs. We heard a laugh, and then it felt like whatever it was gone. We looked all through the building and found nothing. We looked at the security footage and only saw ourselves. No shadows, no blurs or anything. We heard the laughter and smelled a foul stench, but none of that was caught. So it was like it didn't happen. We decided to put it as a break-in. Someone was trying to steal some chemicals for drugs and left it at that. Ever since the science building incident, they now have a pair of guards for that building going on patrol. Other buildings have one. Never figured out what that was, but you could sense something evil.
Working night shifts at a supermarket. Hate my job with a passion, so I spend most of the night dicking around in the warehouse and chatting to the security. It's usually us two alone in the store. Sometimes a manager turns up, but not in this story. One night, me and security bro were sitting on boxes of crisps, chatting about shit when the alarm to the fridge goes off. The alarm sounds when the temperature gets too high or too low, or when someone gets stuck inside. We go up to the fridge, check the temperature, check inside, and check the alarm wiring. Everything was fine. Go back to eating the stock. Then, every single fucking alarm in the store goes off, even the ones on the electrical goods. They all then shut off at exactly the same time. Creep the fuck out, so we go to the security room to check the cameras. Nothing shows up, but there's no way we're leaving that room. About an hour later, there's movement on the warehouse camera. A bunch of fizzy drink bottles are rolling around the floor. Me and security bro decide, fuck it, and go to investigate. Our faces when someone or thing had opened the meat fridge and knocked over some of the boxes. Give up being good employees, lock the store up, and spend the rest of the night smoking on the steps of the store. Nothing like that ever happened again, but I quit a few weeks later due to other reasons. The alarm thing creeped me out more than anything else that night.
Happened to me last night and this morning. Armed security guard at a bank downtown Chicago. Have been working at the bank for over a month now. Nothing strange about it, just an old-ass building. Moved to night shift for this week, 'cause the supervisor is an ass. On night shift, we are to patrol the main bank building and the two buildings connected to it, as well as the outside. I choose to patrol the outside and the main bank building, which was built in 1907. So at 1:30 I start my outside patrol around the bank property with a flashlight in hand and enjoying the nice Chicago summer night. Then I see a shadow in the corner of my eye. I look there and there was nothing. It is dark out, it is the city. It was most likely a bird or a homeless person. As I walk around the building, I for some reason look up, and for a second I see a face on the third-story window. It is too late for the cleaning people to be there, and each floor has movement sensors to turn on the lights on the floor, and it was dark. I call our internal control center to see if someone was still in the building. They check, and there is nothing. I shrug it off and finish my outside tour. It is now 2:30, and I have to do the bank building, which consists of 15 floors and a basement where the engineers work. I start from top to bottom. All is usual from floors 15 to 4. Surprisingly, this building does have a 13th floor, just a side note. I get to the 3rd floor where I had seen the face about 2 hours ago. I get onto the floor, and like every other floor, the lights turn on when I walk around. I get over to the window where I saw the face, and I feel a really big chill run down my spine as a chair falls over behind me. With my hand on my holster, I turn around and nothing, just a chair on the ground and a few papers from the chair scattered on the floor. I quickly pick up the chair and papers and get the hell off the floor. Then I get to the basement. This place is creepy no matter what time it is. So again, I walk around, flashlight out, and this time my hand on my hip. All of a sudden, my radio started to crackle, and then I heard what I can only describe as shrieking cats through my radio. I take my earpiece out, and then I hear the sound of someone or something dragging metal across the floor. I then nope.jpg my way up the stairs to the guard station, where I spend the rest of the night shitting my pants. The worst part is I go back in about 5 hours.
In college, working security detail in New Orleans. Drunk tourists like to sneak into graveyards at night and deface them, etc. Go to one to work. Mostly boring job. Nothing really happens for first few days. Just play Tetris on my cell phone. Decided to walk around the area 3 times in a row to mix up the routine. Hear woman crying. Get a flashlight and run towards the scene, dialing 911. Get there to see a woman look up and mouth something that I couldn't understand, sounded like French. Stay there for a few minutes watching a woman in a blue dress crying on the grave. The police call back and say they are coming in, look back from my phone, and she is gone. Get reamed for wasting police time.
When I was about 19, I used to work graveyard shift security at the local hospital. When I started working there, they were making a big addition to the west wing of the hospital, and I had to do my rounds through there. Half of the west wing was still being used, and the other half was torn out to integrate an expensive addition to expand the hospital. The part that was being used was simple pediatrics, OB/GYN, labs, and various specialty doctors, so they only worked during the day, and the ER was on the other side of the hospital, but they still kept the lights on anyway, and I still had to do walkthroughs just to make sure. The occupied half was okay, but the torn down half was the scary part. The first few days were fine, but eventually I started hearing faint footsteps, like people were following me or walking ahead of me. After a while, I started hearing whispers and muffled conversations, like someone talking in the next room, just barely audible. Once in a while, something would make a noise. Things would go bang in other rooms, or equipment sounded like it was being moved. I always went to investigate but never found anything. It never really scared me, but it did make me uneasy. Eventually, I started hearing children's laughter, and doors started opening on their own. Bangs and noises were getting louder and more frequent. After a month of that shit, I asked to change my work schedule, and they agreed to change me to daytime hours, much to my relief. All in all, it was the fucking children's laughter that got to me in the end. I just couldn't stand it, and I made up my mind to leave after someone told me that the West Wing used to be the psycho ward way back in the 40s, and they had to move it to another city because of patient abuse and above-average patient deaths in the ward.
Only 2 people in the building. It used to be a purpose-built club and bar. Now, because of its location and ample parking, it is a tech company. 2 a.m. Allegedly, several people died here. It built a reputation, which is why the club shut. It is a massive building, thudding upstairs. It happens for weeks. Formally, there is no access to the upstairs. All it contains is 2 rows of phones installed in case the operation needs the other floor. Thud, thud, thud. Goal! Security guard is playing football by himself.
Fuck night shifts. So I was out on patrol a while back when I used to work for a high-class security organization. Mostly it was jack shit. But then one night, 3 other guys and I are sent to keep watch at some fucking safe house or witness protection program area. It is 2:30 a.m. I am fucking tired. I take a rippet out of a cooler. I hear other guys screwing around about some horseshit jokes. Then this happened. I hear low giggling. I ask others if they hear it too. They assume it is some tweaker wandering around. It is in the middle of Montana. I see some shape move towards me. I signal for it to stop. One of the guys shoots at it due to it being in a restricted area. I hear it grunt a bit. It still moves towards me. Nope, nope, nope. Every one of us fires at it. It begins running. We fuck out and retreat to the main wall. We camp inside the monitor room for a bit. The security camera guy asks us what the fuck happened. We hear low banging on the wall gates. It looks like a skinny, starving male around 28. He is bleeding all over the place. Rams his head into the wall. Stops and looks at the camera. Starts giggling a lot. Offs himself by tearing out his eye and eye socket. I quit the next day.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.